My name is Maurits Falkenreck. I'm 44 years old. I was born in The Hague and I studied economics and international business in Rotterdam. I've been an innovative entrepreneur since 2003. Well, actually all my life, but in 2003 I launched my first company, my first innovation. Before that time I gained experience bringing new products to the market while I was working for Philips. I was working on the crossroads of technology and business for Philips Consumer Electronics. The innovations I've been working on and the ones I invented since that time up till now, I wrote them down in a book 2 years ago. And the main purpose of the book was not only to show that my innovation have and had a social economic impact, but it was mainly to share my experiences and to share my conclusions about the innovation climate in this case in the Netherlands mainly. If you would ask the question, why do you innovate? Well, for me it's very simple. It's in my blood. I've always been creating new ideas and thinking of how to market these ideas. Before I continue sharing what my main findings and conclusions are, which I've written down in the book, I'd like to share with you the innovations that I have launched, so you have an idea about my background. The first innovation I launched was a mobile ticketing service for events. It's quite a big startup, which I brought to the next level together with KPN and Imtech. So I had my fair share of politics and I learned early about the importance of dealing with these type of companies. Second innovation, which is worthwhile sharing, is a platform for money transfer aimed at diaspora people. In this case, the platform did not actually allow you to send money to your relative in, let's say, East Africa, but it allowed you to buy an insurance, medical insurance, which could then be used by your brother or your sister or anyone else who still lives there. The idea behind it was to not give them money, which they could use for something else than what it was meant for, but to actually help them further by connecting them with the best-in-class services. So that was the idea. And the third invention has to do with a platform where citizens are made more self-reliant by connecting them to services or launching services ourselves that are very valuable, especially in a time where the government is pulling back and where the welfare state is declining. And the last but not least invention that my company is working on right now is an invention for indoor positioning based on visual light communication. So to come back to the book, the main findings and conclusions which I shared, by the way, one of them was actually a topic on national radio in the Netherlands. Again, the main findings. First, the climate or the culture, one should say, of innovation is very immoral, meaning if you have to deal with big companies in relation to bringing your product further, you will face a high risk of them stealing the idea. And this can be brought back to the immorality of the people who are in charge in those big companies. I will not elaborate too much on it, but that's one of the main findings and conclusion. The other is that private equity, as we know it, is no longer investing in startups, especially since the financial crisis. You see less and less private equity focused on startups. Even though we have startups that, or private equity company, I should say, who tell you that they do invest in startups. In practice, what you see is that they invest in scale-ups, meaning companies that are a couple of years old, have already a stable turnover, have quite a considerable amount of people working there, and they just need some cash in order to make, for example, the move to another country, a foreign country. Another finding and the conclusion which I connected to it is that government innovation funds, they are totally focused at multinationals and private equity companies. So it's impossible for a creative mind, for a creative startup to get access to that money. They always have to go through the big companies and the private equity funds, which makes it a non-level playing field, because the chance of them taking advantage of their powerful position is very high. And the last finding conclusion is that entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, startup companies, give it any name, are not protected by law, because the moment you set up your company and you go to the bank and they give you your package with also the basic insurances, one of them is legal insurance, you might think you are covered for issues that that have to do with your business, in this case bringing a product to the market. But the moment you tell your legal aid based on your insurance, the moment you tell them, I have an issue and it has to do with intellectual property, then they will tell you it's not covered, which means you're on your own and you have to hire a lawyer by yourself. Well, a good IP lawyer will cost you at least 700 euros an hour. So all these findings and conclusions I shared, and the reason why I'm talking about this right now is that I want to give people an insight what's actually happening in terms of innovation, which you hardly see. Most analyses that are shared, they will not give you a picture of the ugly truth behind innovation. So I think it's important to share this information, and that's why I'm willing to share one of the cases, one of the innovations where we had to deal with the findings that I just mentioned. And I'll also explain how you can prevent this from happening, or how you can act on it. So in the next part, I will address more in detail a specific case.